Alright, welcome to day 16 of Mastering Astral Projection, and the thing that comes to mind off the top of my head is they do recommend that you try and do these exercises when you're of clear mind and have a bit of energy. I was doing it this afternoon and I'm a bit sleepy, and man, I was going places. It was really, it's like you lose your mind because you're kind of going to sleep, but in a way that's kind of good. It's a good opportunity actually to see if you can ride that line between wakefulness and sleep, because really, in a lot of different practices and a lot of different traditions, that is the spot that you want to try to get to. A lot of people don't really talk about it, but your mind will slip into the astral body, or will slip into a really deep state of meditation, where you can be cognizant if you can learn how to keep that focus instead of falling asleep. So think about that. It's hard to do the exercises though, because it makes it really difficult to focus on what you're supposed to be doing during the exercise itself. So with today, you're repeating what you've done before. So we're looking at the make sure you're doing the morning and evening affirmations. You're going to do the relax the entire body exercise for 5 minutes, breath work, the cloud breathing. That's doing the breath work with the sparkling silvery inhale and the dark smoky exhale. The inhale is rejuvenating, and with the exhale you're letting go of stuff that you don't need. The 5 minutes of pre-body stimulation is what they're calling this. That's the feet, legs, hands, arms, sponging sensations, splitting the awareness to save time. 5 minutes of full body bouncing. Then doing the full body circuit, so that's the inhaling from the feet all the way up to the top of the head, and imagining that you're filling yourself up with energy, and then with the exhale, that energy is sinking, dissipating, or draining down into the navel area. You're going to do that for 10 minutes. And there's a new technique today, and he calls this the mind-taming ring technique. So on a high level, he wants you to sit in front of a wall, have numbered post-it notes or something of that nature that you can stick to the wall from 1 through 12. Then he wants you to inhale and exhale one full cycle and measure how long that takes. You could do that with a stopwatch. You could do that with your watch, just looking at the second hand. Then you write that number down somewhere. And then what you do is, with each inhale and exhale cycle, you take a number and you stick it to the wall. Start with 1 and 2 already there. If you can make it through 2, take number 3 and stick it on the wall. And then move through number 3 without having a thought. So the idea is to completely clear your mind of all thought. And eventually he wants you to get to 12. He doesn't think you can do this very quickly. So you're starting with 1 and 2 on the wall, and he said to go in a clock pattern. So 1 and 2 on the wall, breathe a full cycle while focusing on the number 1. If you can finish that cycle, move to number 2 without having a thought. Move to number 2, breathe the full cycle. If you can finish that without having a thought, move to number 3, etc. And I don't know, I find the whole number thing really tedious, to be honest with you, so I'm going to show you something a little bit different. So this is a counting technique. You're looking at these 4 fingers. There are 2 joints with 3 pads on each finger, okay? So if you put your thumb on this pad, okay, on the ring finger, that's number 1. Moving your thumb down to the next pad is number 2. Then moving over to this finger's number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm ending on the middle finger, then I'm moving back over, starting back at 1 on the ring finger. So again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you're using your thumb. It's a great way to keep track of breathing cycles. That's my recommendation, rather than messing with the timing of the breath and the post-it notes or whatever. That just seems really tedious to me. The whole point is clear your mind. I think another aid to this, so that keeps track of the number, but here's another thing you can do. So, countless meditation techniques tell you to focus on your breath, and that breath moves in and out of the body. And there are two other things that you can do to add inner visual imagination element to the meditation technique of clearing the mind. One is you can imagine that there's a river flowing by, and anytime that you start to have a thought, imagine that it's actually a leaf floating on the river. So just transfer the thought over to that leaf and watch it float by. That really helps to take thoughts out of the mind and watch them drift by. The other thing you can do is visualize the number. So I like to visualize my numbers that look like those big birthday cake numbers. And you turned 8, you had this giant white number 8 green outline. It's big and thick, and it's a candle. Think of numbers like that, giant numbers, and just focus on the number itself. Look at the outer edge of the number. Focus on the color of it. Let your eye follow along the outer edge of, say, a number 1. It hits the corner and then goes down, and you're focusing on the edges and looking at how round or how sharp they are, how big the number is, how small the number is. You can see it dissipating into the distance. You can see it growing larger and coming toward you. Whatever. Those are just visual elements that will help to keep your mind from traveling off onto inconsequential thoughts like it normally does. So anyway, try that out. And I realized that I forgot to do the dreams on yesterday's blog. Yesterday, I had a dream about Sting. We were together, like at some sort of festival or something, and we were walking down a dry riverbed, and there were a lot of people around, and his music was playing in the background, and he was walking up to people and kind of peeking in on them and saying hello, and so we were just walking along, and I think for the most part that was the dream. Not much happened. This morning's dream, unfortunately, I forgot to write it down. I woke up and was on my way out the door, and now I've forgotten it. So anyhow, that's about that. Alright, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.